Hi, everyone who's joined us. If you'd like to rename and add your company name, that would be great. That way we can check and see who is joining us today. Great seeing everybody. Give it a few more minutes and then we'll get started. Sage, did you want to open with anything? Or can we kick it off in a few minutes?
Go ahead and kick it off. Yeah, I put a little note in the chat just to let everyone know that we're recording. It's not going to be published. Um, and I'd say otherwise, if you want to ask questions in the chat, I am here to make sure that that's being monitored.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
And Chris, should we maybe explain how to go ahead and change their name?
Oh, yeah, for those, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, if you click, where your picture is, if you see your photo at the very top, if you hover over your photo, you'll see 3 dots side by side. If you click on that and then go to the very bottom where it says rename, it will put your name and you can add your business.
Thank you so much. I'm not a Zoom user, so it's always a challenge. Okay, well, I think we can get started if that's okay. We'll open this up. First of all, I want to welcome everyone who's joined us today. It's so good to see you at the CPG Community, our first webinar of the year. For those who don't know me, I'm Chris Lomax from Crayola, and my partner in crime this year is Lisa Deal from Fresh Pet. The two of us are chairing the CPG steering committee this year. We're glad that you're here to have our first topic, which is emerging reimbursement solutions. This was created out of last year's webinar where we were sharing the benchmarking topic results, and there was fabulous conversation around who's using what compensation solutions and what they're moving to. There were lots of questions to the point we almost had to cut off the discussion and decided then it would be a great topic for our upcoming webinar. So we're glad you can join us. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Lisa Deal, who will introduce our panelists for today. Lisa, it's all yours.
Great. Thanks, Chris. Hi, everybody. It's good to see everybody's face, for those that are showing their faces. Yeah, we have a great panel discussion today, and we're going to do a couple of things. So we've got some polls. I'm going to show some Slido polls. So we'll give you a QR code if you guys want to participate. If it doesn't work, because we know how technology is, if you want to answer the questions in the chat, that would also be helpful. So I'm going to go ahead. We've got a great panel today. We've got Nancy Lynn from Bimbo. We've got John Calhoun from Little Debbie. We've got Lynn Deagle from Clorox. And we have Jake, who is a partner with Arrowhead, that is going to give us a little bit of insights on the things that they're doing, that Lynn at Clorox partners with. So I'm gonna start. I'm gonna let these guys introduce themselves. So I'm going to go ahead and start with Nancy. If you want to introduce yourself, and then we'll have John, and then Lynn, and then Jake.
Absolutely. Well, hi, everyone. My name is Nancy Folkerts. I know many of you. I have been with my company for 30 years, and I have been with SOCAP for, I believe, 28 of those. I oversee our Connection Center and our social media team, and am really happy to share some exciting things today. Back to you, Lisa.
I'm John Calhoun. I've been with McKee Foods and a part of SOCAP for 3 years, just over. And we handle anything consumer related. We also handle the retail team, which is really separate from consumer, but it is something under my purview. Happy to be a part of this panel.
Good afternoon. I'm Lynn Deagle. I'm with the Clorox Company and very excited to hear and learn more about this topic. So I actually brought Jake along from Arrowhead. So he's going to be my subject matter expert. And Jake, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi. I'm Jake Tackett. I'm from Arrowhead Promotions and Fulfillment. I've been with Arrowhead for a little over 2 years as our director of coupon and rebate products. But yeah, we've been in the business for 40 plus years. So whether it's been appeasement or rebates is also what we do a lot of. So reimbursement is right up within everything, fresh off of some conferences as well, hearing some brand new solutions and technology that is out there that will help business go along as well. So excited to be here.
Great. Thanks, everyone. And I realized I didn't introduce myself. I think mostly everybody knows me. I'm Lisa Deal. I'm the Senior Director of Consumer Care for Freshpet. I've been with Freshpet for 4 years now, and I've been with SOCAP for probably almost 15. So been around for a little while. But let's go ahead and set the stage a little bit in talking about, why the shift? How has the consumer compensation landscape really changed in the past 3 to 5 years? And I'm going to kind of turn this over to Jake to start us off, and some questions around, what trends in consumer behavior and expectation drove, CPG brands to move towards digital compensation, methods like maybe Venmo or PayPal, really kind of trying to get away from paper refunds or couponing. So, Jake, your thoughts?
Yeah, a couple things. I mean, part of it is just how consumers spend money in general. Whether it's a paper coupon sent to them, that's a higher value, or if it's an IR check that they instantly pay or print at home or things like that, it becomes more difficult. It puts another sort of barrier between the consumer getting the thing and using the thing. And especially as you see more and more, especially younger consumers, sort of leave the traditional banking scene to a certain extent. We think of fintech, we think of all of these other companies that have popped up that people might be using as banks. And in fact, Venmo, a lot of the younger generations are using Venmo and PayPal and Cash App as their primary banking source. So it was important to meet over the last 3 to 5 years, meet consumers where they're at. The more barriers we put in front of them, for especially I think around consumer care and consumer appeasement, um, we want to be there for the consumer, and we want to make good on something that maybe the brand has fallen short for them. We want to make that as smooth as possible. So moving to these digital solutions has been really, really helpful. I know we just launched ACH direct payments to consumers through consumer care, which has also been really popular. But the Venmo, PayPal, and Cash App, and we even started there for a moment, Bitcoin, when Bitcoin seemed to be a possible future. All of those things came into the solution realm because, you know, we want to meet consumers exactly where they're at. And paper coupons as well as checks are more difficult logistically as well. So you would issue a higher value paper coupon, someone might distribute that. Even if you serialize it, which all of those are serialized through us, they could still do that, and you wouldn't necessarily find out immediately. You would find out after it had been used, 25 times. So the digital payment method is a more secure method as well. There are some things on the horizon that's moving us more towards being able to go back to higher value coupons that are serialized. But the retailer implementation of that isn't just full scale quite yet. So we're kind of the in between We want to get them back to coupons. We want to get them back to high value coupons that they can spend immediately. But until then, these digital solutions like Venmo and PayPal are really kind of your premium options for consumer care.
Jake, do you feel that brands are really starting to feel the pressure a little bit more to offer instant payment options versus, cutting a paper check that could take 6 to 8 weeks for the consumer to actually put in their hand? Where do you think, and I'm going to put a poll question out here in a few minutes to see where everybody's at, but what's your thoughts on that, Jake?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think the more they do something they aren't familiar with, like a check, like those other pieces, or something that feels maybe slightly antiquated, the more consumers might feel that this was a scam or they might not get it. The longer it takes for you to deliver to them, the more they're like, did they even hear me? Is this going to come to fruition? Well, I put my information in, we'll see what happens. Um, there's a little bit of a doubt that's cast within that section. So I think I was just at eTail West a couple weeks ago in Palm Springs with all of these major e-commerce brands, and of course, this was a topic that was there was instant refunds, instant appeasement, essentially directly to them. And there are companies out there that are issuing refunds and rebates within 12 hours. Now, whether we want to talk the feasibility of that, they were an Australian company. I'm not sure that that would play well in our market, but I think one of the biggest and best messages they had was that they did a survey and it was like 70% of consumers would rather go to the dentist than wait for a refund. And so I think that right there tells us alone these digital options that allow them to access those funds in a manner that makes sense to them is the most critical point that we are all working towards.
That's great. John, I'm going to turn this over to you. When you stepped into your role, you were issuing paper checks and coupons. What made you realize it was time to evolve beyond a paper-only approach?
Yeah, one of the things that I saw just our department wide was technology and processes were behind. My first SOCAP, like drinking from a fire hose with what all brands were doing, really was a kind of a punch to the gut that man, we're behind in the way we do things. And so that was one thing. The other thing was just hearing consumers frustrated with the time frames, hearing them call back and complain that, hey, I still haven't got this. And it's like it's been weeks and like that's just not okay. And then I think about myself, right? I'm a consumer, and I would definitely not prefer to go to the dentist over wait for an appeasement. But to each his own, Jake. Um, I know that I want that appeasement quickly, right? And so, like, I want to put myself in the consumer shoes, and I realized that we had to make a change. And so I started digging into what those options were, with the caveat that we have consumers who like paper. So how do we meet them where they're at, but also bridge the gap for those that don't like paper? So.
So how do you think that's impacting your consumer experience? Because you are looking at how do you bridge that gap, right? There's an older generation that, cut me a check, I could take it to the bank versus the younger generation that's like, I want to do this via Venmo or barcode bucks or somewhere.
Yeah.
How are you finding that bridging that gap and where do you think your consumer experience is?
Yeah, it's definitely improved with barcode bucks. Having that like instantaneous digital refund to their inbox. Like we typically would stay on the phone and they'll have it within 30 seconds. And there seems to be a lot of comfort in that. Um, and so that's definitely made things better, but we still have room to grow, right? As Jake talked about ACH and Venmo and other avenues, we actually just changed banks. So we're looking at actually more options because what may be good for a handful of people may not be good for others. So how do we keep evolving the methods that we provide appeasement for consumers?
That's great. Thank you. If everyone can, if you want to participate, there's a QR code on the screen that'll take you to Slido. I'm going to launch the first question, and hopefully you guys will be able to see this. Chris, if you
Hey,
want to just
Lisa.
go ahead and switch the there we go.
Hey, Lisa.
Did it come up? Is it coming up for you guys?
Yep.
Okay, good.
Hey, Lisa, I have one more thought I forgot to say.
Yeah, go ahead.
So one of the things that we've seen is we have a higher redemption rate with digital offers versus paper coupons. So that also to me is a positive. Yes, they're spending on more of our money, but they're spending on our products. So we're really happy with that. And so that's been a positive.
So we're seeing a bunch of things come up. So we're seeing coupons via mail and mail, gift cards, digital rewards via Blackhawk, paper coupons. I never heard of tremendous scam. That's a tremendous promotion pod, digital gift cards. Great. So it sounds like people are kind of moving towards a digital solution, which is great to see. I'm going to throw out the next poll just so we can get a percentage of where everybody's at. Ooh, we got dead even, 45% and 45%, either less than 50% or more than 50%. That's great. Thank you guys for participating. We got one more poll after this, but we'll push it up a little bit later. I kind of want to go back to, some of the operational realities, right? So when you going back to John, what are some of the biggest operational pain points that you found with paper checks and coupons, and how did you evaluate some of those alternatives before selecting barcode bucks with TPG rewards?
Yeah, so all of our printing and folding and stuffing of envelopes is done by my team. That's something we've done historically. So with that being our only source, that was definitely a burden on the agents. And so creating digital option reduce that strain. Then you think about all the materials you have to have and like making sure that you have enough checks on hand. And if we just change banks, all of those checks that we used to have had to be deleted or like destroyed, right? And so like with digital, you can shift pretty quickly and make changes really quickly. So that's definitely something we've navigated. Um, what was the second part of your question?
How did you evaluate alternatives before, selecting TPG rewards?
Yeah,
What you
so I looked at a few. I just Googled it. I looked at Promotion Pod, OnBee, SKUX, and then TPG, which is Barco Bucks. The one thing that separated Barco Bucks for me was that when we give someone a digital reimbursement, they are going into the store and they are buying our products and our products only, which we obviously like. Some of the other brands didn't offer that, and that was something that really was the selling point to me. So,
Jake, I'm going to go back to you on this one. What do you think are some of the most common friction points brands are trying to solve when they modernize their compensation programs?
I think exactly kind of what John said is really kind of reining in how much freedom we want to give for a problem that is brand specific. So I think a lot about the implementation and tracking of digital rewards is not necessarily super straightforward. If you choose a prepaid, if you choose a gift card, it's different than a digital reward card. There's breakage, there's all of these other things that go along at unclaimed property. All of that comes into play as soon as you start working in digital rewards, where there's an expiry on those expiration cards. So that's a big friction point that I think if you're new to this, there might be something that you have to get legal help with. You have to then go to there. I mean, there's entire conferences on unclaimed property management. So it becomes its own sort of beast. So finding a partner that's really well versed in that is super important. I also think this was something that popped up earlier with when I was listening to John just talking about consumer options as well. Like, I think some of the friction is we solve by sometimes putting money on it without understanding that sometimes the solve may be experience. We are in an experience-based economy. So when we come to, we ran an appeasement for Kraft for the, I don't know, there was a big TikTok that went around where the gluten-free mac and cheese that this person bought didn't have the packet of cheese in it. We ran that appeasement and sent them an entire box of gluten-free mac and cheese. And I think there was a small appeasement sort of check in there as well, but that experience itself allowed them to re-win brand trust, brand loyalty, because that's really what we're after with consumer appeasement and consumer care. It's re-winning that trust in the brand. So I think sometimes we want to go to solve with the money piece of it, but I think adding and looking at your more maybe lateral options of what sort of experience can I win here, especially in an experience-based culture with unboxing all the time and social media. You can't underestimate the currency of social media as well. So I think having both of those is really, really critical in your approach to these solutions, whether they're digital or paper coupon or any of those other pieces.
Very well said, Jake.
Good. I want to talk a little bit more about barcode bucks, John, and then I want to talk to Nancy a little bit about Tremendous and what she's using. So, John, you had said that barcode bucks really is directly tied to repurchasing your own products. How important is that within your company? And then also, what measurable improvements have you seen since you launched in April of 2024?
Yeah, the measurable improvement would be the redemption rate and the overall customer satisfaction. Like the fact that people are like, oh, wow, I can have a refund immediately. And not only that, but I can use my phone to pay. Like there's comfort with that for a lot of people, right? And so that was definitely a benefit. Um, I'm sorry, I'm missing your first question.
That's okay.
Sorry.
I, how important was it for the barcode bucks to be tied directly to your products, that the consumer actually had to buy your own product again or use it on your own
Yeah,
product versus
yeah.
getting a gift card and buying a pair of sunglasses?
Yeah, thank you for repeating that. It was very important. Obviously, we have scenarios where people are mad at Little Debbie and our brands, right? And so they don't want to buy our products. So we have to have an alternative. And so unfortunately, right now it's checks, which people are typically okay with, but still not the greatest experience. But the fact that we can um, send people back to our brand and our products is a big deal. And wanting people to finish that cycle if they bought a product, they had a bad experience, we were able to give them a digital refund, and they came back to our product. Has been a positive thing, not only from the agent perspective, but it's just really the whole thing, the whole experience.
That's great. If you were advising another brand who might be implementing a similar solution, what would you tell them to prepare for? What were some of the pain points you had?
Um, So my team has done paper checks and paper coupons for a long time. And so understanding that you have to cast a vision of the why you're doing what you're doing is really important. And then making sure that they're equipped to be able to handle that with ease and understand the process. Because once you get them on board, the whole thing flows better, right? The consumer is engaged, the agent's engaged, and things go really well. Um, to me, my working relationship with Barco Bus is critical. Like they really feel like an extension of our team. Like I call George, randomly for different things, and it's like we catch up with our family. Like we're just like I would say we're somewhat friends, right? And so that is nice. And looking for a vendor that isn't just going to be someone who's a third party that's there just to sell you, but really cares about you, your process, your team, and making improvements. I've offered a few ideas to Barco Bucks about improvements, and they have implemented some of those. And to me, that's a huge benefit for me. Like they're listening to me as a customer, and it's making my experience better. So there's a couple things like just make sure you evaluate and like talk to other brands who are doing different things. I know that this is not the end of the road for us, and I've talked to a lot of people about different ideas as we move forward. Honestly, I've already learned some stuff on this call, and I'm on the panel. So like, um, never stop trying to educate yourself and focus on continuous improvement.
Great. Thank you. Love it. I'm going to switch this over to Nancy. So Nancy, tell us a little bit about Tremendous, how that works for you, what types of payouts, and how does offering choice impact consumer satisfaction?
Yeah, so we use two things. For a regular consumer, we are still using the coupons. We actually use a foil coupon that's a little bit pricey but can't be duplicated, and we've never had an issue with that, and we've used it for like 15 years. However, we do want to get away from that. And so we are likely going to be switching to the new program, which we started. And what we use Tremendous for, and it's tremendous.com, is whenever we have a consumer who needs a little bit more than a coupon, we can send them an immediate virtual Visa gift card. We can also send them a physical gift card, but there's also, I believe, over 200 different other cards you can send, Amazon, Starbucks, whatever the case is. So we all know when we are in the CPG, especially food industry, if a consumer found something in their product, right, they're not going to want your coupons in all cases, right? So this is a really great way to make that customer happy, to settle it quickly. And it's very, very easy to use. Lots of companies use it. Google uses it, Gartner, Hyatt, many companies use it. And it's quick, it's easy to use, it's customizable. We're able to put our own message, personalized message in for each consumer that we send it to. Right now, we are only doing it for these consumers that need more than a replacement coupon. And right now, we're only offering the Visa virtual and Visa physical gift card. Eventually, once we kind of see how it goes more, we will open it up and possibly offer some other things, Amazon, Starbucks, etc.
Nancy, what does the implementation look like for Tremendous within your systems and compliance
Yes.
and all of that? And is it easy for your agents to use?
So I have to say, for those of us who've been in this industry for a long time, we've gone through lots of contracts, lots of vendors, right? I can tell you the biggest hurdle was the 1 day, maybe day and a half that it took to go back and forth with our legal department. And very next day, we had a 10-minute training session and we were up and running. And as far as the funds go, there's several ways that you can fund the account. The more complicated way is through your company. You can certainly have the company fund it through the company bank account, but most of us have company credit cards. And so what we do is I went in, I added funds using my corporate card, submitted the receipt. It's only a 3% fee, which for companies is very small. So if you're ever running low on funds, you don't have to wait for your accounting department or treasury department to deposit funds. It literally was available in seconds. And the training took 10 minutes. It's that easy.
Nice.
That is great. Did you find that there were any surprises that came up during your implementation beyond your 10 minutes?
Tiffany, who's on the call with us, is our representative, our manager who handles this system. She has not mentioned anything to me. Tiffany, if there is, speak up. Please. I don't think that she's run into any issues yet. Anything, Tiffany, that you've noticed?
No, it's really been great. And I think a big selling point for us was that you can actually track and see when the consumer opens that email, when they view the card, when they redeem it, when they spend the funds. So sometimes people, will call back and say, well, I never received my gift card. There was no way to track it with a physical. So that was a really big selling point for us, is that we could actually pinpoint exactly when things were done with it. But so far it's been great. No issues.
Yeah, definitely easy to implement, easy to use. Been well received by consumers, and again, it's simple and it works.
That's great. For anyone that wants to answer, how do you ensure the experience is seamless for people who may not be tech savvy?
I think I can just jumping in on this one because so I'm part of the ACP as well. I'm part of the board of directors over there with the coupons and promotions group. Uh, One of the things that we're actively working on is lobbying with the legislators across the country for this digital discrimination lawsuit that has come up both in San Diego and then across the country, where any paper coupon that is made available must have digital parity as well. Um, it's been fascinating to hear where actually the digital illiteracy exists, because surprisingly and maybe surprisingly, this made sense once I thought about it. I come from Apple prior to this. Older generations are actually much more likely to be comfortable with digital things, so this wasn't an issue with them. It tended to be younger generations that had a harder time getting around the idea of this digital literacy to get this new platform to do these other things. And I bring this up because one of the best solutions going forward, I think, especially in appeasement, is 8112 coupon formats. And for those who don't know, currently all paper coupons are 8110. That's just the file format that is read by the POS that says, hey, this is a paper coupon. This is what I'm going to be looking for. In appeasement, obviously, we serialize those to make sure they're non-duplicable. In 8112, it works like blockchain, where basically that coupon is cleared and immediately taken out of any sort of positive offer file to ever be used again. It is immediate, directly through the register. The problem, though, is that it is almost like if any of you used OTP rewards or things like that, where you get the coupon, there's a barcode, you have to send something, and then you get the little QR code to scan through. People don't always want to do that. They're leery based on every other scam that comes through our inboxes each day of phishing. But those things have to be made easily and reliably trustable. If people can feel like they can trust your brand, they can trust this, they will automatically add this to their wallet and get this really wonderful thing directly to there. Because if you're seeing, like John, if you're seeing a ton of really great adoption with barcode bucks, 8112 does essentially the same exact thing. You can basically pinpoint a set of family codes that allows them to say, hey, they didn't like their oatmeal cream pie, but maybe they'll try something else in our catalog based on our family codes that we set up this coupon with. So there's a lot of different ways to do it. I think that digital hurdle, you can also do 8112 with paper too. So it's not even just necessarily the digital experience, but making sure that your digital experience has paper parity is pretty critical. Especially right now we have a state tracker that tracks all of these coupon legislation things popping up. And I think appeasement is something that these legislators aren't thinking about. That when a paper coupon for appeasement goes out, that's not going to be made available to everyone because it's not supposed to.
Mm-hmm. Great. So we all talk, especially in our world, around risk, privacy, and compliance, and we all know, the fraud potential with coupons and all of that. So, are there any internal governments or legal consideration that you guys took before you implemented a digital solution, as well as what privacy and data security concerns came from inside your company, whether it's your legal department, before you made jump over to a digital platform?
Lisa?
Jump in, Lynn.
Yeah, well, you should have seen how long it took me to find how to raise my hand. I just did it the old-fashioned way. I just wanted to clarify. You just slightly misspoke the first time, Jake. It's if you have a digital coupon, you need to have paper parity. So,
Yes,
and
I
you said it right at
apologize.
the
Yes,
end. I just want to make
not the
sure.
opposite way. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a little bit of a big deal because we don't use digital and we got called out for it. So I was like, well, I guess we just answer and say we don't really know what you're talking about. But anyways, all I was gonna say about the security, Lisa, is we are still hanging in with POD, so print on demand, which is relatively new for us. We've only been doing it, we're just getting close to our second year. And so we knew that we would have to have this paper parity, which is just why I wanted to mention that because of the security level. I think someone, Nancy, I think it was you, you've got, all the special security features. I think that was you who said that. And it is expensive, but we sometimes hear that consumers are like talking at checkout and they're going, "Where'd you get that fancy coupon?" Because, the foil literally catches light. So I
Right.
don't know. So maybe that's a good thing. But in terms of security, Lisa, that's a very big deal. We had an issue, gosh, at this point over 10 years ago. And everybody probably knows, most people probably know what I might be referring to with the whole Queen's pins or whatever that was. I just forget. So we were just a very, very small part of that. But you don't forget once you have a problem. So, anyways, we're sticking with POD. Waiting for 8112. We're thinking about Venmo and PayPal, and we're just have so many things going on. We really wanted to learn and see if people could only pick one thing new, what they would pick. So that's just my contribution, Lisa. I
No,
took us a little to the left, but you could get us back over to the security.
no, that's great. Is there anyone else that had any kind of where your legal team said, wait, back up, or, what is the risk? How internally was it accepted?
Ours was pretty easy. The conversation that our legal team had with Barkill Bus was pretty short and sweet. Um, I don't remember enough to tell you the details, except that we've had zero issues with any kind of fraud. It's really been seamless. So, um, if you're interested in learning more, I'm sure George would explain more of their security for Barkill Bucks.
Nancy, anything on your side?
No, the only thing I would say is I think we're always, at least for the next few years, always going to need regular paper coupons in addition to digital, because there are just some people who will refuse to get any compensation, right? Virtual, which is why we still do the physical Visa gift card, why we still have the actual foil coupons. I do think eventually, though, we're going to be able to save a lot of money by cutting back on those concrete hold in your hand type things, but I don't think it's going to be in the next year. I think there's still going to be holdouts for years to come, and I think we just need to adapt and make sure we have both options available.
That's great.
I agree with Nancy.
Yeah, good point.
As we look forward, kind of what you're alluding to, Nancy, where do you see in these instant pay platforms fitting into consumer affairs strategies over the next 3 to 5 years?
Tremendously. I think it's going to grow by a lot. Our company pushed back on the whole Zelle and Venmo. They weren't interested in pursuing that. But I think that something like the barcode bucks or something like the tremendous are definitely going to grow. I mean, I am hopeful that by next year we could be doing 90 to 95% of all of our volume virtually. And then remaining 5 to 10 probably are going to hold out for that, wanting it in their hand type thing. But certainly it's the way of the future. And I think in even in the next year or two, I think that's where most companies are going to have to shift.
That's great. Chris, if you want to switch to the next poll. I'm going to launch this one just to see where everyone might be with where they're thinking for next year. I like the honesty of don't know. Okay, so it sounds like everyone's kind of moving into the digital realm. I love exploring Venmo. Why don't we go ahead and kind of close it out a little bit, and then we can open it up for any questions that we might have. So, John, I'm going to kind of start with you. So, if you could give companies one piece of advice before they implement a digital payout system, what would that be?
I think I mentioned this earlier. Just make sure you evaluate various options, and then if you can find partners of SOCAP that are using them, and talk to them and get advice about what's working and what isn't working, and what conversations you want to make sure you have up front before you implement. I think that's pretty critical. That is the beauty of SOCAP, being able to bounce things off various people doing different things. I know that that's been extremely helpful to me. That may not have been helpful for the Barfield Bucks because I may have been the first that I know of. But that to me is really, really important.
Nancy, how about you?
I echo everything John said. I think reach out to the fellow, counterparts that we have access to, and find out, what they're using. I'm sure, John and I are willing to point you in the right direction if you're interested in any help learning more about the services that we use. But I think, there's so many companies out there that are trying to sell these kind of things. It's always better to go with a company that is used by other reputable large companies. The first thing that I always ask is, give me your client list, or I make sure that I can find their client list on the website, because if there's not big names that I see on there, I'm really not going to pursue it, because there are so many options out there. It's easier to go with ones that are value added and tried and true.
If I can add to that, I would, if you're evaluating companies, if they can send you an offer of another brand for you to go and try, like you're a consumer, to me, that is also a great test because you can put yourself in their shoes so you can kind of know how that experience is. Um,
Jake, any closing comments from you?
Yeah, I think I'm fully aligned with both John and Nancy's points. I think as a partner to a lot of companies, in the SOCAP arena, understanding that, and this is gonna sound like marketing terms, but like really being a partner to each brand, meeting them exactly where they're at. Like we're well equipped for OTP, for 8112, for Venmo, PayPal, ACH. But like to Nancy's point, if it's a non-starter, it's a non-starter. We have to switch to other options. Like we also run digital choice or rewards, which is similar to, finding a Visa gift card or a physical one, but it opens it up to other markets to where they can, choose the mall that they want to shop at, the store. Finding a partner that's going to understand that, the currency side physically, but also understanding that brand reputation and social side of it as well, I think is critical. Because to me, it's a most of the time, sure, it's a coupon or a check or a gift card is going to fix a lot of things. But in those instances where you do find, the outlier where this a TikTok or a reel or something is going crazy, Having a partner that's equipped and ready to roll out solutions that are not currency based is critical. So find you a partner that is going to have your back, not only financially, but also reputationally.
Yeah, Jake, I love that. One of the things that we actually do is we partner with our internal e-com team. And so if we have an event that happens with a consumer that we feel like is out of the ordinary, we can go ahead and send our agents can submit an order through e-com. That can include products, but also flag. And that has gone over really well with consumers.
Yeah, I mean, I will say fully, like, I think our best solutions, Arrowhead is at its best. We do warehousing and fulfillment as well. So when we are able to do both customer care and the client's business for warehousing and fulfillment, we do a lot of like large CPG people or folks as well, a lot of makeup companies. We're pretty instantly able to send that appeasement, and then on top of it, if the brand thinks it's worth it, follow up with that fulfillment and get that sent out that same day with kitting and fulfillment. So I 100% agree. If you're doing it in-house, great. If you have a partner that can do both at the same time, great too. Like making sure both sides are covered is critical.
That's great. Chris, if you want to go to the next slide. So I'm going to go back to what John was just saying. So if there was a brand that we could test to see how their system works, John, I'm going to turn this over to you.
Yeah, so I talked with George and I asked if he would care to create a slide for us to share the experience of Barcode Bucks. So if you'd like a family pack, um, a little W of your choice, scan that. You will get an email and you will experience what it is to use Barcode Bucks. And so I encourage you to take the free product and enjoy it. So you're welcome.
Thanks, John. That's awesome. Hopefully everyone will take advantage and experience for yourself what something like Barco Bucks can offer to you and your consumers. So, Chris, I think that was probably our last slide. Is that correct? Okay, good. I wanted to bring it back so that we could see everybody. We have about 10 minutes left, and wanted to open it up for any kind of questions that you might have for the panel or just conversation in general around digital reimbursements and where things are quickly shifting. As we all know in CPG, everything shifts very quickly. Chris, was there anything in the chat?
And just looking there now. Oh, can we drop the QR in the chat as well? Yes, I will do that. I think I can do that. Thanks, John. You're too kind. We agree. I don't see any other questions.
Well, while people are thinking of questions, I just want to say a thank you to Lisa and Chris for all of their work organizing this. Like obviously we all know them, they're pros. Before Jake joined, I have told him it was Beauty and the Beast, and I was the Beast. So now it's Beasts with me and Jake. So
Yeah.
they're amazing. They're amazing to work with, and just pros. And so thankful for the relationship that I have with both of them.
Oh, thanks, John. Appreciate that.
Thanks, John.
And I echo what John said. You guys have done an excellent job. And John, I do have a question for you as well. How long does it take for the Barcode Bucks to come through to email once you assign, or once the person requests it, or however it works?
Yeah, it really depends on their email, but literally within 30 seconds to a couple minutes.
Okay. Okay. And does the consumer fill all that out, or does your rep fill all that out?
So we intake their info. Barcode Bucks has a portal that is super easy to use. You put their info in and you send that. And then we just make sure and confirm that they get it. We can also see if someone calls and says, hey, I never got it. Well, and we can go in and see if they've actually used it and how much they used it and where they used it and what time they used it. So it's pretty nice, easy, simple system.
Okay. Awesome.
I'm having a difficult time putting it in the chat. I might have to add as an attachment. So it's coming.
Any other questions?
There was a question about Canada. I don't know the answer to that. I know Barcode Bucks has over 60 retailers and they're growing pretty rapidly. But I don't honestly know about Canada because currently we are not in Canada, which I think we're about to be again, but I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah, it just depends on the vendor themselves if they are, going to be compliant with Canadian promotions as well, because there are a different set of rules for those. So
Be used. I cover UK and Canada. So yes, for us, it can be used anywhere.
Any other questions?
That's it. Thank you so much for participating and sharing all this valuable feedback. I was taking notes like crazy. So thank you for everyone. Thanks to the panelists. It was fantastic.
And if there's any, I was going to say,
Yeah.
Chris, if there's any other subjects that you guys are interested or topics that you'd like to, for us to be able to share on future webinars or the CPG Summit that'll be held in October along with the national conference, certainly let us know because we want to make sure that we're preparing webinars or information that's important to you and your business. So please feel free to email either Chris or myself or, back to Sage as well. I know Sage has been pretty quiet here. So is there anything, Sage, that you wanted to bring up while we have a few minutes left?
I don't think so. What could I add? This is a great group, and I just echo everyone's sentiments and how this has come together. It's a great group.
Great. All right. Well, thanks everyone for your time. Great. Thanks you to the panel. Great discussion today, and I look forward to our next one.
Hope to see everybody soon.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you,
you.
everyone.
Bye. Thanks,
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.